Checkmate. Wow, aren't we lucky to have heard that original recording of two people in 1571 playing chess, one clearly checkmating the other. Simply stunning. Hello and welcome back to the final couplet with me, Theo Cowan. Apologies that there wasn't an episode last week. You might have noticed. If you didn't, then forget it happened. But I was away in Spain for a family wedding. It was great. I had a great time. It was really nice. You know what? They know how to do weddings in Spain. They really do. I highly recommend it if you can somehow get yourself an invite to a Spanish wedding. Get along. They don't finish the wedding. I don't know if this is classic Spain or if this is just the people that were getting married. But they didn't finish that wedding until 5 a.m. In the UK, it is midnight. At the very latest, you will be going home. There's no way you'll be staying later than that. So this was quite a shock to the system. But I think in general, the Spanish just stay out longer, don't they? I mean, they don't eat until bloody 11 p.m. It's wild. There's a whole world out there. Anyway, so apologies for there not being an episode last week. But, you know, sometimes I need to take a break from Shakespeare. It's important. And now I'm here, I'm back, and I've got a clear head-ish. So this week, of course, we're looking at Sonnet 110. Let's take a listen, shall we? Alas, 'tis true. I have gone here and there, and made myself a motley to the view, gored mine own thoughts, sold cheap what is most dear, made old offences of affections new. Most true it is that I have looked on truth askance and strangely. But, by all above, these blenches gave my heart another youth, and worse essays proved thee my best of love. Now all is done, save what shall have no end. Mine appetite I never more will grind on newer proof to try an older friend, a god in love, to whom I am confined. Then give me welcome, next my heaven the best, even to thy pure and most loving breast. So that's that, Sonnet 110, and there's similar themes, aren't there, to Sonnet 109. Obviously, Shakespeare he's messed up. He's made some mistakes. And those mistakes are he's been sleeping about. In my head, that's what they are. I think that's pretty apparent. And this backs it up. Sonnet 110 backs that up. Because Sonnet 109, he was saying, look, yes, I'm sorry. I might have been off doing other things, and that was a big mistake. I still love you. And really, he's saying the same thing in this, but he's sort of elaborating. If you're his lover, you're like, well, you don't actually need to. I don't want to know all the juicy details of your love affairs. But he is sort of backing that up, and he's saying, yes, look, I've been unfaithful. I haven't been truthful. And I'm sorry for that. You are amazing, and I regret the things that I've done. So at least he's coming clean. Whether that needed 2 whole sonnets dedicated to it, and no doubt there are more sonnets dedicated to it, knowing Shakespeare, he likes to carve out a chunk of sonnets for one theme. So I can imagine that next week we'll have a similar story. But that's sort of the main bulk of this sonnet. Let's break it down line by line and work out what the hell Shakespeare was going on about in Sonnet 110. So we start with, Alas, 'tis true, I have gone here and there, and made myself a motley to the view. So this is relatively straightforward, I'd say, and quite a punchy opening line. Alas, it's true. I have gone here and there. That is, I don't even need to translate that for you, hopefully. Hopefully you understood that first line. And essentially made myself look like a bloody idiot, if I can put this colloquially. Motley to the view. So I've just made myself look foolish. Then he continues with, "Gored mine own thoughts, sold cheap what is most dear." So I thought of gored as sort of a bloody sort of stabbing, or almost like mauled. Could be wrong there, but I think in this context he's saying that he's sort of betrayed his own beliefs, all right, or he's ruined his own beliefs and made the most valuable things in his life seem worthless. So sold cheap what is most dear. He's just handed them out, not for free, but cheap. So far it's quite confessional, isn't it? Like, I've messed up. I've done some terrible things. Then he continues with, "Made old offences of affections new." So here I think he's saying he's sort of repeated old mistakes in new relationships. So he's got a history of this by the sounds of it. And it sounds really like he's got a history of cheating, of going behind his partner's back. And he's done it again in this new relationship. And it's not good enough, Shakespeare. Come on, you're better than this. "Most true it is that I have looked on truth askance and strangely." So yes, it is true that I have treated truth, the truth, strangely and with suspicion, which is not great. I don't know why he's looking at truth as a problem. Truth is always good, on the whole. I mean, you can tell a little white lie here and there, but I'd say, on the whole, probably pretty good to be telling the truth. But he's learning. He's saying that, you know, I used to look at truth as a bit of a problem. But now he's moving on. He's thinking, actually, the truth is great. Because he's telling the truth in this sonnet. "But by all above, these blenches gave my heart another youth." But I swear to heaven that these blenches, I'm thinking of blenches here as sort of like detours in his life, aka these sort of infidelities, these little escapades with other lovers, has made my heart young again, has given my heart another youth, which is a nice way of putting it. I mean, I don't know if that would go down well with me if someone was saying, look, I've cheated, but all these sort of like little cheating sessions I've had, all these love affairs, they've actually given my heart another sort of spurt of youth, which is a bit of a weird way of putting it. But then he pulls it back with this next line, I think. This is a lovely line. "And worse essays proved thee my best of love." It's a lovely little line, that, isn't it? And here he's saying those failed relationships, those rubbish essays that I read, those pieces of crap, they were terrible. I learned nothing in those essays. And those essays obviously being relationships. So those failed relationships showed me that you are my true love. So look, yes, I did it. Yes, I did some bad things, but they actually showed me the light, and the light was you. Now all is done, save what shall have no end. So now all of that is done with, apart from our love, which will have no end. Mine appetite I never more will grind on newer proof, to try an older friend, a god in love, to whom I am confined. So here he's denouncing all of that he's been up to, all the bad things. He's saying, I will no longer take a new lover. and make an old friend suffer. Because he has made this old friend suffer by taking on not just one new lover by the sounds of it, multiple. Because you, old friend, are a god of love. You're like a god of love. That is a big old compliment. And I am devoted to you. That is the main thing that I'd hear if this was being recited to me. I wouldn't really think about the other things. I'd be like, he just called me a god of love. I suppose I am a god of love. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take god of love. It's a good compliment. How about we all go away and, if we've got a partner, call them our god of love. Or just, if you don't have a partner, just someone in the street. You are the god of love. That might be a little bit weird, that one. Maybe not someone in the street. It's a bit much. Anyway, we're on to the final couplet. Then give me welcome, next my heaven the best, even to thy pure and most loving breast. So after all that, he's saying, welcome me back, come on. Get me back in. Get me back into the relationship. You are the next best thing to heaven. I'll take that. I would definitely take that, being called the next best thing to heaven. Obviously, heaven is the best. But interestingly, we haven't had lots of religious talk from Shakespeare in the sonnets. And here he is saying, heaven. He's essentially saying that he believes in heaven and God, and that he potentially went to church and whatnot. So that is a little glimpse into Shakespeare's religious life. And then he's saying, let me return to your pure and most, double most, so it's the most, loving heart. So there we have it, Sonnet 110. I like this one. It's quite straightforward, it's quite direct. It's Shakespeare going, look, I messed up, I'm sorry, you're incredible, I shouldn't have had these love affairs, that's not a great thing to do, please take me back. Now tell me, if you receive this sonnet from your lover and they've been cheating on you, would you take them back, yes or no? Maybe I'll put that as a poll. Can you do a poll in things? I'll try and do that. I'll try and work out if I can do a poll for that, because that'll be interesting. Right, I think it's about time we put this to our story. And if you remember last week, the Earl of Southampton and Shakespeare, they're in a relationship together. Well, not really in a relationship. They're sort of on the edge. They were in a relationship. Then the Earl of Southampton went to prison, of course. He's come out. Shakespeare's gone, oh, actually, that was quite a good relationship that we were in. And they've gone back to Shakespeare's house. Earl of Southampton, he's found a pair of boxer briefs in Shakespeare's house. And he's going, whose are these? Because he knows that Shakespeare doesn't wear boxer briefs. And Shakespeare says, oh, no, don't worry about those. And the Earl of Southampton says, yes, I think I will worry about those, actually. And Shakespeare has confessed. He said, yes, look, while you were in prison, I've been doing some sleeping about. Is that such a big deal? I'm sorry, I still love you. And the Earl of Southampton, well, we don't know how he's received that, because that was Sonnet 109. So let's see how he takes that news and how Sonnet 110 fits into all this. Shakespeare finishes reading Sonnet 109 to the Earl of Southampton. The Earl of Southampton says, I'm sorry, Shakespeare, that's not good enough. I think the fact that you were cheating on me this whole time is disgusting. And Shakespeare says, but I didn't think we were still in a relationship. I thought that sort of relationships ended when the other person went to jail. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to think, isn't it? And the Earl of Southampton says, no, you should have waited for me, or at least waited until they killed me, and then I wouldn't mind you sort of going off and doing other things. But while I'm still alive, I think that's out of order. Shakespeare says, I'm sorry. I am. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I've written you this lovely sonnet. And you read all those other sonnets that I wrote for you. And the Earl of Southampton says, I don't think they were for me. Now I'm hearing all this. I think they were for your other lovers, and you're just saying they're for me. And Shakespeare said, no. Okay, yes, they were for other people. But that's not to say that this sonnet that I just read you, that is for you. The Earl of Southampton looks him dead in the eye and says, Shakespeare, you need help. And with that, he turns on his heel and marches out of Shakespeare's house. Shakespeare runs out after him and says, "Earl of Southampton, please, stop, I still love you." He's standing in the street. The Earl of Southampton is, 50 metres ahead of him? He stops. It's like an episode of EastEnders. Everyone in the street stops what they're doing. They all stare back at Shakespeare. They look between the two of them, like a tennis match. "I know I messed up." Shakespeare is shouting this down the street to the Earl of Southampton. "I know that I slept with too many people. I mean, even one would have been too much, to be honest, because we were in a relationship. But I have my needs, and I've learnt from them. I've learned never to do it again. Please." The Earl of Southampton continues walking. Shakespeare runs after him. He drops to his knees and says, What do you want me to do to prove to you that I love you?" And then suddenly, the Earl of Southampton turns round to Shakespeare and says, "Come with me. There's one thing that you can do." And Shakespeare says, "Anything. Honestly, anything." And with that, the Earl of Southampton grabs Shakespeare by the wrist and marches him through the street. Some of the people that were watching are actually following them now. They're desperate to see how this turns out. They march along the London streets all the way to St. Paul's Cathedral. The Earl of Southampton drags Shakespeare up the big stone steps and into the cathedral. There's a few people scattered about, but the Earl of Southampton takes Shakespeare into the corner where there is a confessional box. And he says, "Shakespeare, I need you to confess. Confess to the priest in this confessional box, and I'll be there too. We'll both go in, because I want to hear some nice things about me and how much you love me, and also that you've done some terrible things. You've cheated on me with lots of other men. I'll give you 5 minutes to write down the confession, and then we'll both go in, all right?" Shakespeare, not used to making confessions, thinks for a moment, and then solemnly nods his head. He sets to work on his confession, which will be Sonnet 110. Eventually he finishes and walks into the confessional box with the Earl of Southampton. The priest, waiting on the other side of the box, says, "Good morning. Or is it afternoon? I don't know. I've been in this box for a while. Do you wish to make a confession, my sons? And Shakespeare says, "Yes, I do. I've written it down." And the priest says, "Excellent. I'm glad you've written it down, because some people come in here and they improvise their confession. It's not really quite concise enough." "Oh, okay. Well, yes, I've written mine. So, are you ready to hear it? Are you going to? Do I start now?" "Yes, start now." And with that, Shakespeare pulls out Sonnet 110 from his back pocket and reads, "Alas, it's true. I have gone here and there and made myself look like a bloody idiot, betrayed my own beliefs, and made the valuable things seem worthless, repeated old mistakes in new relationships. It's true that I have treated truth strangely and with suspicion, but I swear to heaven these detours have made my heart young again, and those failed relationships showed me that you are my true love. Now I'm done with everything, apart from our love, which will have no end. I will no longer take a new lover and make an old friend suffer. You are a god of love, and I am devoted to you. Welcome me back. You are the next best thing to heaven. Let me return to your pure and loving heart. So there we have it. Sonnet 110 and the story to go with it. Shakespeare is in a confessional box, and I mean, if I were the priest in that box, I'd be wondering if this was directed to me, to God, to the man that he's come in with. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to decipher, but we will find out next week how that goes down. Until then, bye.